Hi there, Rick here. This is a video I wanted to do for a while, okay? Um, when I used to work on the commercial buildings before, window glazing, okay? Um, I would sometimes um, talk to the steel stud framers, okay? Because believe it or not, okay, um, this sort of work with the steel stud framing, okay, you can see it inside there, right? Okay, you see the steel frame in there, okay? And the steel stud framing, okay, you can't see it from here, but every what is it, maybe 2.5 feet or 2 feet or so, there's holes inside the steel framing, okay? So it saves a lot of time, okay, because the people doing the wiring, okay, they don't have to drill holes through the wood. They just run it through the holes of the steel stud framing, right? And okay, you can even see down there, okay, you see how it's below there, okay, below the concrete. And that work is kind of skilled work, actually, okay? When these guys, okay, when they put in so many thousands of hours, maybe, I don't know, 2,000 hours, then their wage usually goes up, okay? I think it goes up by quite a bit, actually, okay? But I could see the guy working inside the high-rise buildings with us, and it's skilled work. He has to cut it. He has to know how to use the snips the proper way, right? And he has to know how to bend the steel framing, right? And he has to follow blueprints too, okay? Like, you have to follow the blueprints, put it in the right spot, right? So it is it's very skilled work, okay? And I always thought to myself, it's a good skill, it's a good career, okay? Like, if you can get into the high-rise buildings, there'll be lots of work for you. And what else can I say about it? It's not a dead-end job, okay? Like, I mean, the more hours that you're putting in, okay, you're getting these incremental raises over time, okay? Not like, okay, like, I've been with some big vinyl window companies in the Lower Mainland where, after 2 years, they didn't even give me a single raise, right? And then when I asked for one, they laid me off. So, I thought that was just downright rotten of the manager to do. But the manager's also following orders from the boss too, right? He's maybe discussing it with the boss, right? But, it's his company. He runs it the way he likes, right? But you have to remember, he's not going to get skilled people in to actually do the work, right? The company's always going to be constantly, looking for workers, right? And I know that the company was hiring people with no experience at all and trying to train them, okay? So I'm just looking at the steel stud framing on this high-rise building here, okay? Like, you can see, there is quite a bit of steel studs framing inside, the building. On the outside here, okay, you see that strip that's going across this way, going across there, right? Okay, that's a steel stud framing going across there. So I think what they're going to be doing is whatever siding they're going to be putting on the outside of this concrete, it's going to fasten itself to that steel stud framing right there, going across there. And okay, you see on the outside what they done to the concrete on the outside? You see? It says right on there, Blueskin, okay? I've used that before a lot on people's homes. You put it over wood, okay? When I was putting down the patio doors, okay? It just protects the wood from rotting, okay? It gives it that extra protection. And it acts as like a weather barrier, okay? And believe it or not, it was actually, even when I was buying it at Rona before, Rona, it was still kind of pricey, okay? But of course, you know, big projects like this, they get, because they use so much of it, they get it for a good price, right? Okay, you see steel stud framing over there, okay? I see 1, 2, 3, 4. They're spaced maybe about maybe 3 feet apart, right? So whatever siding that they're going to put on that wall there, it's going to fasten itself to the steel stud framing. The strips of steel stud framing going horizontally that way, okay, it's fastened to the concrete itself, so it's very strong, like it's not going to fall off, for example. So, you know, it's kind of interesting seeing these buildings going up, okay, because, you know, you can see the type of, what is it, modern technology that we're using in 2024 here in the city, right? And you know, I'll just take a quick, you know, glimpse of a video cap of the construction site here, okay? You see down there, okay, they got a couple of booms, okay? There's one there, okay, that's down. There's another one that's already up. He's maybe about, I don't know, looks like maybe 4 or 5 stories up. He's actually quite high, actually. So he's down at the end, down there, okay? He's wearing, what is it? Kind of like yellow work clothing, okay? But I used to operate booms like that and go up like 5, 6 stories, like 7 in the morning when I was working on these high-rise buildings. And well, my boss was paying me well, right? But I always felt that, you know, it should be more money than that, just because you have to remember the work is dangerous. You know, if you're not aware of what you're doing, okay, you can make that boom fall over. And believe it or not, there's people who have been killed in that boom because it fell over, right? But you know, you have to yeah, you have to know what you're doing, okay? Look at the concrete, the pillars going up. Kind of interesting. See, up there, right? It's going all the way up to the top. Because there's quite a bit of skill work involved in, you know, making these concrete pillars too. Like, I mean, you have to know what you're doing, okay? You have to remember, you know, you make a big mistake, right? It's going to maybe cost the company in the tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars if you miscalculate something, right? So that's where I guess the experience, the skill come in. You know, you're paying workers for that, right? You hear that sound going on? Okay, that's a hammer drill, okay? Somebody's hammer drilling into concrete, okay? Maybe they want to put some fasteners in, or what else would they be making the hole for? Maybe for some plumbing or something like that, right? Could be a couple of different reasons. But yeah, it's it's quite interesting, because I think 5,000 years ago the Egyptians would have marveled at this sort of technology, right? Well, they're using stone, but you know, this is still like you know, a concrete stone, and you know, you're forming it to the way you want it to be, right? Not sure what this place is going to be, but you know, it looks like it's going to be quite nice when it's finished. Like, look how big it is. It is actually quite big. I'll film down there too. See? It's probably going to be a large parking lot down there, right? And you know, the workers here, okay, I come in, doesn't look like there's a whole lot of workers here right now, but you hear banging going on, right? You know, you got the plumbers coming in, you know, they're putting their pipes, you know, in here through the concrete. You know, there's probably going to be at least a few $1 million worth of windows going in here, right? Commercial windows. And you know, all that is skilled work, okay? Like, you know, you need to train somebody to do that properly, right? And just like everybody, okay? Like the work is not for everybody, okay? Um, you know, and you know, of course, companies are trying to, you know, find skilled guys, the best workers that they can find, right? Good crews. Look at the cranes. Look how high they are. Stretches over, I don't know, quite far, right? But you have to remember these big machineries, okay, like that they've designed, it makes the work a lot easier these days, okay, compared to, you know, if somebody was trying to do it by hand, right? It would just take so long, right? Just like those big, what is it, caterpillars that you see that dig up the ground for mining, okay? What can be done from one of those in maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours took, you know, one person literally 6 months or an entire year to do, right? Because, you know, everything had to be done by hand. They didn't have caterpillars back then, right? 100 years ago, actually about 120 years ago, 125 years ago, because this was around 1898, 1899. Caterpillars weren't even invented yet. See, and somebody put up some tarp right there, okay? Probably they're trying to try to cure something, and they just needed it a little bit warmer, right? So that's why they put a tarp right there. Or maybe, you know, they have some sort of product supply right there, and it couldn't get wet, okay? So they had to put the tarp up there, right? And well, they have to try to protect the wall from water, right? So they put this, see, they put the strapping, the cedar strapping on there, and then they put all these you know, blue tarp up all the way up to the top, right? You know, that's a lot of work to do, you know. Still takes some time to do, but you know, what a big project, okay? Kind of curious to how much this entire project cost, but you know, I'm sure it's in the tens of millions of dollars, you know, and whatever company is doing it. And you know, I'm curious to, you know, who's going to even move in here, right? Is it going to be office space, or is it going to be retail stores going in, right? Or is it going to be retail and residential moving in here? I have no idea. But you know, when I came by here, you know, months ago, it was almost, you know, none of this was here. It was just a pit down there, and they were just trying to, you know, set up the foundation on the ground, right? But projects like this, you know, it takes a lot of manpower, a lot of guys to do, okay? And you know, if you got some guys that have 10 years experience, 5 years experience, even 20 years experience, right? You know, that experience comes in, right? And you know, usually companies, yeah, they have to pay those guys more money too, right? An hourly wage, because you know, you have to remember, you're paying for the experience, right? You know, you offer them minimum wage, they'll just say, bye, see you later, or they'll just start laughing at you. But yeah, I think it's going to be quite nice once it's finished.